Hello everybody, this is TipTopMTG here today with another Magic the Gathering video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over all of the limited and draft themes from Double Masters. For those of you who don't know, generally when Wizards of the Coast releases a set meant for drafting, or that can be drafted, there will be each two-color combination will have a different theme associated with it. That way, if you, say, pick blue and red as your theme, you'll notice a trend and there'll be a little bit of synergy within your deck. Let's take M21 as an example. If you were drafting blue and white, typically you'd end up with some sort of Azoria's Flyers deck, just because that's what it happens to be. But if you know the themes ahead of time, it can give you an advantage, because you might know, oh, red and green, that's not either a good theme, a theme I want to play, or just you know that, oh, red, green, okay, that means I want to look out for this specific card because I know what my deck is going to want to do. So a lot of times they do come out and just say, here are the themes, but sometimes they don't. And Double Masters is a case where they haven't done that as of the filming of this video. And so what that means is that some of these I was able to look around and find a consensus and then confirm it myself. And some of these I had to just look at the overall card pool and what the signpost uncommon told me. So what a signpost uncommon is essentially there is a two-color uncommon for every single color combination that tells you, hey, here's what the color combination is going to want to do. And you'll notice there's only a couple uncommon multicolored cards, so picking up the 10 signpost uncommons is very easy. So why don't I show you an example? Here we have Glassdog Hulk. It's a blue and a white for an artifact creature golem 3/4. Whenever another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn and can't be blocked. So obviously, this was one I had to come up with myself looking at it, and I said it was artifacts, and that is very generic because, well, Double Masters started as artifact masters, meaning that there are a ton of artifacts. But from what I can tell, looking at blue and white, it seems that there just happens to be a lot of artifact synergy. It's where you'll find most artificers, and obviously Glassdog Hulk itself cares about artifacts entering the battlefield. So I think it's very clear that this is just kind of a generic artificer, have artifacts enter the battlefield. But a lot of themes do care about artifacts, they just aren't, they're a little bit more specific, which might mean that Azoria is a good color to draft, because yes, there might be a theme of artifact creatures, but here artifact creatures count as artifacts, but also artifacts count as artifacts. So I think that blue-white being just artifacts may be a very popular theme to draft. But why don't we move on to blue-black? Blue-black, I'm saying it's artifact creatures, and here's why. Sphinx Summoner is a 5-cost blue and black 3/3 artifact creature Sphinx, and when it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an artifact creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and if you do, shuffle your library. So on the signpost uncommon, it says artifact creature, you're going to search for it, and if you look at the card pool, blue and black has a lot of reanimate. So I would say that blue-black is artifact creatures with a little bit of a reanimate style deck. There are cards that are in blue that bring back artifacts, and cards in black that bring back creatures. Blue-black, artifact creatures, I think it makes a lot of sense. And you'll notice that, you know, not all themes are artifact based, but this one seems to be very clearly you want to play artifact creatures, you want to resurrect them from your graveyard, maybe you want a little bit of sacrifice, which black has with other colors as a theme. So I think that this is also going to be a very powerful combination. The only issue is artifact creatures are colorless, which means that they're going to be drafted. Most artifact creatures, there are colorless ones, but all of the colorless artifact creatures are more likely to be drafted because, hey, I have a pack, I'm in red-green, and there's only blue cards in this pack. Well, then I'm going to pick the colorless card because at least I can play it. So, yeah, I think that'll be one problem when it comes to drafting this theme. Next, we have Unlicensed Disintegration. So this is the only Rakdos uncommon Rakdos uncommon. It's an instant and it says destroy target creature. If you control an artifact, it deals 3 damage to that creature's controller. And from everything I can see throughout the set, sacrificing seems to be the theme. And while Unlicensed Disintegration really doesn't show that, it is just a good artifact matters red and black card. This is one where I even checked. I was like, it looks like there's a lot of sacrificing going on here. But I'm going to look around and it seems like a lot of people agree this is sacrifice, but this uncommon just is kind of weird. Maybe it's more removal and then just with a little bit of sacrifice on the side. I'm not sure. Just overall, it seems to be sacrificey. And even if that isn't what they're going for, you could probably make a successful deck out of sacrifice. Next we have Gruul. So we have Gore Clan Rampager. I'm saying this is creature boost. This is one where no one really knows. It seems it's 2 red and a green for a trample or 4/4, and you can discard it and give target creature +4/+4 and trample until end of turn. And so at first I looked and I thought maybe it would be discarding, but that doesn't really fit the colors. And then when you look, green and red have the most creature boost. Now that's generally how it works. Green and red has creature boost and most other colors don't. I mean, white does. But looking at the set overall, it seems like these colors are going to be all about getting your creatures and then boosting them, giving them trample, just getting a lot of damage in by just going face. And so it's somewhere in that realm. I'm categorizing it as creature boost because there's a lot of it, but it could just be big trampling creatures. So yeah. Next we have Celestia. So this is a very typical Celestia. It's tokens. So this card is a green, white, or so it's green or white, green or white. For a 2/2 creature elf, you can pay 4, create a 1/1, pay 4, creatures you control get +1/+1. So this is all about going really wide and swinging in, and there are lots of cards within the set that show this. I think this is probably one of the strongest, most obvious themes, and even the Signpost Uncommon shows that. So it's very clearly you want to make tokens, and also, some cards just care about tokens, and there are ways to make artifact tokens, so it does also somewhat tie into the artifact theme. However, that doesn't really go wide. It's just some cards say whenever a token enters the battlefield. So just keep that in mind when you're drafting these colors. Next, we have Azoria. So this is a 2-cost white and black enchantment with Revolt, and so it says at the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn, create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token, and then you can pay 1, sacrifice a creature to scry 1. So yeah, it's looking through black and white. It seems like there's a lot of when a creature dies, sacrifice a creature, do any of that. So it seems like that's generally what you're going to want to do, and Hidden Stockpile does everything. It's a payoff for sacrificing things. It gives you a way to sacrifice things, and it does fit within the artifact theme as well. So just overall, this is gonna, I think, work well. I think it's gonna be engraved enough into artifacts where you can take advantage of it, but also it can be powerful. Next we have Izzet. So this is Izzet Charm, but it's gonna be Spells Matter. That's what Izzet does most of the time. Spells Matter works kind of well because you can take both whatever red and whatever blue is doing and then just kind of support it with spells that are powerful, like this one. If you need cards, get cards. If you need to kill something, kill something. If you need to counter something, counter something. Super versatile. You're just going to want to find things that say, like, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, or just things that would obviously work well with instants and sorceries. It's very typical for Izzet to do this, so I think it makes a lot of sense. Next we have Golgari. So we have Death Reap's Ritual, 4-cost black and green enchantment with Morbid, and at the beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, you may draw a card. So I said this was more Morbid or like sacrificey, so you just want to kill things, whether it be your stuff or your opponent's stuff, and maybe bring it back. And so you're going to want to bring that back. So that's generally what Morbid and what Golgari is going to want to do. It's very similar to Azoria. So what's interesting is a lot of these themes are very similar. For instance, artifacts and artifact creatures. There's only a 1 color difference. Here, Death Reap Ritual Golgari and Orzhov, they both kind of care about things dying, sacrificing things, so you could combine them into black, white, green. So a lot of these themes work well when you combine them together. So while Morbid may not seem that different than Revolt, it is nice that you'll be able to combine maybe 2 colors together and get something awesome out of it. Next, we have Weapons Trainer for Boros. So this is obviously equipment. So there is lots of equipment within Boros. A lot of it's colors, obviously, but there are lots of cards that care about being equipped. Lots of double strikers, lots of things that take advantage of being boosted. So just generally good cards to equip. Yeah, and of course, equipment fits within artifacts as well. So if you pick up any, say, white Artificer cards, they also work with equipment. And then we have Simic, and this seems to be ramp. The Signpost Uncommon is an 8-cost, which implies to me that, hey, you probably want to ramp to it. This is one of the ones that I was a little bit more hesitant on, that I saw other people saying it was, and I look around and I'm like, okay, well, what is this thing telling me? Is it trying to tell me it's enchantments? Maybe it's a little bit, but not super, so I'm thinking it's probably going to be get lots of mana, cast big things, and that's generally pretty powerful, although you can't be super consistent, so it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, I haven't drafted Double Masters yet, but if I do, I may make a video talking about how it went. You can also, if you want to see what it's like to draft it, there are some draft simulators online just to see, here's it's going to be kind of hard to do something, or good or easy to draft a certain theme. So you guys should check one of those out. Yeah, that's pretty easy. Just type like Double Masters Draft Simulator. Very simple to find. But yeah, those are the different 2-color themes. Generally, you can find these throughout most sets, and I really haven't done a video like this before. So if you enjoyed, please hit that like button so I know that you want to see more videos like this for something like Zendikar Rising, where I can talk about those different themes, or maybe even more interestingly in Commander Legends. Either way, guys, that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, please hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.